Hey everyone, Stephanie Robilio here, licensed clinical social worker, published author, and the chief clinical officer at Agape Behavioral Healthcare, and you are tuning into the Mindful Living podcast. Hi beautiful ones, welcome back to the Mindful Living podcast. Today I'm diving right into emotional baggage, what it means, how we end up with it, and why it is so important to learn and practice how to let that old weight go so that you can create space for inner peace. I'm sure if we're honest with each other, every single one of us in some shape or form has known what it means to carry emotional weight or emotional baggage. What this basically is, imagine it to be unresolved emotions from past trauma, from past negative life experiences that we've gone through, whether it was a really bad divorce, a hurtful breakup, maybe even something more significant, growing up in a home where there was abuse, neglect, or abandonment. And as a result, we tend to have emotions because that's what happens, right? We go through life experiences. Those life experiences cause an emotion, and that emotion or emotions can get trapped in our body, and we end up carrying it with us for most of our life until we have that wake up breakthrough moment and we go, what the heck? What is all this weight I'm carrying with me? Why am I carrying it with me? And I'm ready to let it go, right? So most people have negative beliefs about themselves, negative beliefs about life, about relationships, about work, about money. And it's usually because of something that has happened in the past. And those beliefs, they stay with us and they shape the way we see the world, the way we see ourselves, the way we see relationships. And they tend to impact our behaviors, which inevitably get in the way of not only the relationship we have with ourselves, perhaps even our higher power, and certainly the relationship we have with other people. I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen from my own life and from having professional experience working with so many amazing humans is that when we're carrying the weight of our past, it interrupts our ability to have healthy relationships in the present moment. And so it's important to understand the impacts that emotional weight has on us, right? So because all of us have known trauma or negative life experiences that have caused us some type of emotional pain or harm, that baggage or those bags manifest in our lives in a number of ways. Some, we see it show up as self-limiting beliefs. An example of that would be the beliefs of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'll never be loved, life is hard, I'm not lovable, I'll never be able to live my life without fear, or I'll always be an anxious person, or I don't know if I'll ever have a healthy relationship, right? So that's what it means to have a self-limiting belief. Obviously, those beliefs limit you from being able to really become your true self and reach your highest potential. Beyond that, these emotional bags can manifest as mental health struggles, also addiction or alcoholism, and then the reoccurrent patterns such as self-sabotage or maybe even perfectionism, overachieving, people-pleasing, and regardless if it's the self-limiting belief, the addiction, the alcoholism, it always will be difficult to form healthy connections. Because think about it. The traits that I just named off or the behaviors that I just named off, if there were a category, those would be considered unhealthy. And if we are living with unhealthy patterns and behaviors and unhealthy thinking, then it's nearly impossible to have healthy relationships or healthy connections because we will always attract what we are. So if we ourselves are not healthy, how can we expect to have healthy connections? We can't, right? Part of the healing and recovery process is learning how to connect to yourself in a healthy way. And the first part is becoming aware. You have to become aware of the bags from your past that you're carrying. Acknowledge those bags, right? You have to acknowledge those bags and not just acknowledge the bags, but also acknowledge the impact of this baggage and how it's been holding you perhaps hostage in your past, which is interrupting your now. I say this almost every single episode, but the now is the only time you have. The present moment is the only time you have. And it's so unfortunate that most people are suffering in the present moment and causing friction in relationships or sabotaging relationships, and it has nothing to do with the present. It's usually because the unresolved emotional weight of the past is interrupting the ability to work through the now or navigate the now. And another part is every life experience we have lived shapes our perception. And if we don't give ourselves the safe space to process the pain that we have once lived from that past trauma or negative life experiences, then the emotions get trapped in our body, and that's what creates our perception. So I'm not sure if this is you or maybe somebody you know. I know one time in my life, my perception was so distorted. I took everything personal. I thought that the world was out to get me. I was so stuck in a victim mindset. And I didn't even know I was in a victim mindset. I thought this was just my mind and I'm doomed by it. I just have to live with it. But I'm here today to tell you that is a lie. If you are the person struggling with self-limiting beliefs, or you feel like the world is out to get you and you find yourself in these self-pity cycles, I'm telling you from firsthand experience, there is a way out. Or maybe it's a loved one you know. Maybe that loved one is the one showing up in self-pity and it's really hard for you to see that. Just know there is a way out. But the way out is to first become aware of the bags you're carrying, acknowledge the impacts of those bags. That is the first step towards releasing its hold on your well-being. And then getting into accepting what's out of your control. You know, I think a lot of times when people hear we have to accept our past, people think that that means you have to forgive certain parts of your past. And maybe you're not in a place of wanting to forgive whatever's happened to you or the person who hurt you. And that's okay. Forgiveness is super personal, and it can even be the sacred process. And only you get to be the one to decide who and what you forgive. But if nothing else, I invite you with so much love to practice accepting what can't be changed, accepting what you can't control, and with intention, choosing to release the narrative that you are not good enough or that you are not worthy because of the things that have happened. That's a lie. No matter how much trauma you've gone through, no matter how hard your life has been, you are more than worthy. You are good enough. You are whole. You are perfect and beautiful exactly as you are. You are enough. We have to work on changing that narrative, because the narrative is what continues to fuel that old emotion. And then inevitably, that means you're stuck with baggage. So take a moment right now and imagine if you were literally trying to carry a bag or a piece of luggage for every single painful thing that's ever happened to you. Like, how many bags would that be? Right? They would be like stacked all the way up your arm. You know, like when you're coming home from the grocery store, and if you're anything like me, you only want to make one trip to and from the car. So you literally load like 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 bags on both arms, and it's like causing circulation issues because there's so much weight. I mean, think about that. If you had a bag for all the pain you have ever lived, how much weight would you truly be carrying? I know for me, like, I can't even put a number on it, but I know that I'd be paralyzed. I wouldn't be able to walk. I'd be so weighed down because I've been hurt by others, by family members. I've been hurt by myself because I've let myself down in so many ways over the journey of my healing experience. And it's just incredible to me that because we can't see our wounds, we can't see our trauma, we can't see our emotions, we just get stuck. We get stuck with it. But the reality is, if I were to tell you, I want you to take a bag and I want you to write the name of that pain or the person who hurt you. So maybe you were naming that bag to be shame, guilt, grief, loss, disappointment, insecurities, anger, resentment. Or maybe it was your ex or your mom or your dad or your brother, or your sister, your coworker, your boss, the person behind you in Publix, like whoever has caused you some type of pain in any way. If you were to label that on a bag, a legit piece of material, you would never be able to pick it up and carry it with you and hold it. Never mind for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or a day or 2 days or months or years. Because let's be honest, most of us are going through our lives carrying the emotional weight from what took place years ago. I mean, let that sink in for a minute. Does it make any sense to carry emotional weight from years ago? No, it doesn't. All that does is fuel pain and suffering. And a huge part of our healing journey is to take accountability, which means ask the big question. How are you contributing to your pain and suffering? How are you contributing to your stress every day? In what ways are you the reason why you continue to suffer in terms of your emotions? Because the reality is, and I say this with so much love, unless there is actually something happening right now in this present moment as you listen to this podcast that's causing you harm in an emotional way, then there is really no weight for you to carry. There's nothing for you to do. The power is in the now. When you can train your brain to focus on the present moment, understanding unless there's pain happening to you now, there should be no space for emotional pain. But you have to train your brain to be in the present and not let your mind create a narrative based on some old memory from months ago, weeks ago, or years ago. And the practice of mindfulness can be your greatest teacher, right? Because mindfulness teaches us truly to focus on the present moment, to show up to every relationship and every experience as if it's the first time we're meeting that person or having that experience. Most of us go into every single relationship and every experience doomed by our past. We bring our past into the now, and then we set ourselves up to not feel good. We already go into situations not liking the situation, and it has nothing to do with the situation. It's because we showed up to that situation with those old bags. So today, this is my invitation to you to make a commitment to let go. If it's out of your control, let it go. You deserve to put yourself in a position to be able to experience inner peace. And I know for sure inner peace is within you. It's dying for you to return home to it. It wants you so badly to start the journey home to inner peace. And it's waiting for you. It's there. It's available. So some actionable steps that you can do to begin this process of letting go is you can begin journaling. Journaling is an amazing way to externalize the emotional pain from you or the emotional bags from you. And it puts you in a position to kind of see it objectively. So I highly encourage journaling. And it can only be for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes a day. It's not like you have to commit to 30 minutes of journaling. Quick little journaling moments throughout the day or one time a day is perfectly sufficient to start this process. Also, in engaging in activities that bring you joy. So making more time for fun and doing things that just light you up and fill your cup up with joy. And then asking yourself, what has to happen in your life for you to feel better? What relationships maybe do you need to walk away from? Where do you need to set boundaries, right? So like taking an honest look at yourself and doing a self-inventory, having an assessment with yourself. What changes do you have to make to release old pain and set yourself up for having inner peace? And then practicing self-compassion, having grace for yourself and for others, cultivating a mindset of acceptance. I'm saying that multiple times today because that's so important. Accepting what's beyond your control. It makes no sense to continue to be upset about what's beyond your control. If you can't change it, then let it go. If you can change it, then change it. That is the most empowering thing you can do, to recognize I can't change this person. I can't change what has happened. I'm going to let it go. And if there's something within your power to change it, then change it. That's what it means to be empowered. Change the things that you can change. Practicing gratitude. Gratitude, if you've read Mindful Makeover or Well Now, or even my most recent book, Unpack Your Bags, which is your self-help guide to inner peace, I swear by gratitude. I think gratitude is the most incredible, delicious medicine there is. And it's beyond medicine. It's a weapon. We can use gratitude as a weapon to combat anything that's getting in our way, because there's always at least one thing to be grateful for. Even when it feels like the world is colliding, the walls are falling down, it's one storm after the next. There's always one thing to be grateful for. And sometimes it's as simple and profound as your breath, right? Just taking that moment to pause and be grateful that you're alive and you can use your breath to navigate your way through, and not only navigate your way through, but really calm your nervous system and connect to your body. So those are just a few actionable steps. And then of course, the biggest one, if you're at the point where you're really suffering, then seeking emotional support or professional support is so important. Maybe there's a person in your life who is a safe person and they're willing to let you lean on them, lean on them. And if you need support beyond that, then my recommendation is to get professional help, especially if you're struggling with your mental health or addiction or alcoholism. It's so important, you all. We get one life, and I really feel if we learn how to put ourselves first, understanding we are so worthy of feeling healthy and feeling happy, but sometimes that means taking that courageous step and getting help, whether it's through a treatment facility or through private practice. Like, take that first step, like all it takes is that first step. And that very first step could be the step that changes your life. And this is something that we talk about all the time at Agape Treatment Center, that there's so many people that we have the opportunity to meet who were so afraid of admitting they needed help. And one of the coolest things is to see them just days in, weeks into their treatment process, and they are beyond grateful that they were honest, that they were struggling with their mental health, addiction, or alcoholism. So ask for help if you need it. It's available. And then, I want to share with you guys that this is what really inspired me to create my most recent book, Unpack Your Bags. I was once that person who was struggling with so much pain, so much suffering. I didn't even know where it was coming from. I was just stuck in these really bad, unhealthy patterns of self-sabotage, and I didn't think there was a way out. But it wasn't until I took the courageous step to walk away from the unhealthy relationship and begin my journey of healing and self-discovery. And with the help of an incredible therapist, I was able to identify that all the weight I had been struggling with was really bags from my past. It stemmed from my childhood, and I just ended up carrying it through my early 20s, and it caused so many problems. I mean, now I don't see them as problems. I see them as some of my greatest teachers. But the point is that it truly feels like my life's purpose to share everything that I've learned, not only from my personal experience, but also from having had the honor and privilege of working with thousands of individuals through group and individual therapy. And so I take everything that I've learned, all the wisdom, all the lessons, and the education, and I share it with you and Unpack Your Bag. So if you are a loved one struggling in any way, my gift to you is Unpack Your Bags. It's available on Amazon. And I just truly hope whoever's listening to this, you just never forget that this is your life and you are so deserving of living a life free of all that holds you back. So today and always, lean into the love that surrounds you, lean into the love that is within you, and be courageous enough to put yourself first and ask for help. I love you all so much. Until the next time. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you found today's episode to be insightful and inspiring, drop me a review so together we can help the next person, and come connect with me on social at Stephanie Robilio, and find all of my books on Amazon. Until the next episode, stay mindful and always remember the power that lives inside of you.